There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment. And here, we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. And welcome to the show, everybody. I gotta ask everybody, have you ever felt like when you're thinking about your life and thinking about who you are, that you're going, I think I was born on the wrong planet. This doesn't seem to resonate with me the way that I'd hoped it would. And our guest today has been through that. She has traveled virtually all over the world, from India to in Europe, and she is a very spiritual young lady. She worked with a teacher at an ashram. She's very, very talented. And Brachelle, I'm so excited she's here because she works with sensitive souls like yourself, even though you're in denial.
Well, only sometimes. No, I'm very excited too, Kevin, because we had her with us about a year ago, and to have us come back into each other's world and see what's changed and what's new. And for me to admit, I am sensitive, but can I figure out that is also my superpower by giving myself compassion? So Jo Kovrig is here with us today. And if you want to follow along with her website along with us, it is jokovrig.com. Her last name is KOVRIG.com. So, hey, Jo, how are you?
Hey, guys, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, tell us what's new.
Wow, loads. Like, as I figured, it's not just my life that's been through like a massive shift and transformation over the past year.
Yeah.
Now that I'm catching up with you. And yeah, I was just wondering how important these moments are, or these periods in our lives are, when we go through these deep inner shifts and transformation.
Well, it was fun because before the show even started, Jo and I were talking about, she was on last February on the show, and she said, I didn't really think that I should be on the show again until now, because I hit what she calls rock bottom. And we don't exactly know what that is because we didn't really discuss it. But then over the course of the year, you have recovered and rebounded like no other. And so tell us about since the last time you were on the show, tell us about your evolution over the last year.
Yeah.
Well, I got to a point where I just, to refer back to feeling like an alien, I kind of went to a point where I hit rock bottom so hard, where I told God that you bloody brought me here, so you bloody help me now, because I'm bloody clueless of what I'm doing here. Excuse my French. But this is pretty much the emotion that was behind it. It's like, now you either help me or I'm out of here, because I'm really pissed off. I really have no idea what to do from here. Like, I feel completely cornered, out of move, and like no idea what I'm doing and why. And that was the point where basically life cornered me to full surrender. And I love, and this is the key, I feel, because surrender has been really the key ever since, to surrender to God, surrender to divine guidance, surrender to call it whatever, because I know God, the word God triggers a lot of people, but to surrender to whatever higher power you believe in, and just really allow it to help. And basically help started coming in pretty much straight away in the form of different healing modalities like access consciousness. And then I ended up very fast with Edward Mannix and Compassion Key. I don't know if I can talk about names, I know, sorry.
Of course.
And Compassion Key was an absolute life changer in a way that I basically paused my coaching business completely. I said that, okay, I need to just take a break and figure out how to heal myself first, because I could really feel that something's really not in alignment. And I invested my entire year into doing his course. He was the first one who understood why I feel like an alien and what to do with it. And that was the hook. Like, that was like, oh my God, finally somebody understands this. Like, this is amazing. I'm not crazy. Or I'm not the only one, at least. And that's good enough.
Yep.
And so I just spent many, many months doing a lot of deep inner healing, crying through boxes of tissues, going into that, what I called like this emotional snot, like when like a caterpillar goes into the chrysalis and it has to disintegrate before it can turn into a butterfly. And that's pretty much what the healing process felt like and looked like for me the past year, when I just left something that was old, like the structure had to disintegrate. And then something slowly started to reshape by basically beginning of this year. And then it started reshaping so fast that now I'm really amazed by the change and the shift and like the positive change that is happening now. But it couldn't have happened without going through that liminal space of transformation. I don't know if anyone is familiar with tarot, for example. First, I had the hanged man. Like, I came from the hanged man when I was like completely like pinned to the wall. And then I went through the tower, when all the inner structure, belief systems, ideas, identity had to like go and disintegrate. And for something new to come, for something new to spring into life.
Yeah.
And it is a grand adventure, like we discussed before the show even began. And sometimes we have to go through this. Now, Brachelle, as a example, is a stockholder in Kleenex. Because she uses a lot of Kleenex because there's a lot of tears, aren't there?
Yeah. There's, when you get to that other side, Joe, you see everything you didn't before.
Yeah.
And have you experienced just like, rather than overwhelming heavy negativity and the confusion and all that you felt before, isn't it just like an overwhelming feeling of grace and gratitude and thankfulness, and like every day you just are like, is this really my life, and did I do this? Do you have those moments still?
Absolutely, loads of them, more and more. And what I also noticed, this kind of bubbling joy for no reason. And it's like, that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned surrender, so I would love to ask you. I talk about that a lot, and when you surrender to yourself, did you feel like you fully gained control all of a sudden?
Well, I'm not sure if I would put it that way, but it was definitely liberating, very liberating.
Yeah.
To kind of put down control, responsibility, like over responsibility, and trust. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, her cat knocked her
Sorry. Just trying
love
to
your
deal
cat.
with a little cat on my desk right now. I love that you understand that though, Joe, because when I surrendered and I realized that by surrendering, I gained full control within myself. And I think that's what allowed that bubbly joy to kind of just come from nowhere sometimes and feel free, because wasn't it like you got to kind of meet yourself for the very first time?
Yeah. I probably wouldn't say for the very first time, but for sure, this healing modality brought me an experience of that much deeper than anything ever did. Because it just literally, after every session, I felt like a layer of my identity is being wiped, and there is more space in me for the truth of me to come to emerge. And it was like gradual, but it was opening.
Yes, it builds.
I've got to tell you, you brought up tarot, and I don't use tarot, but I have a deck that is called Keepers of the
Tarot.
Light.
Keepers
Yeah.
of the Light. Wow.
Oracle card.
And so
you haven't pulled those out for a long time.
I know, but we operate here from a intuitive place, and when when my guides on the other side say pull out the cards, then I have to. So I've done that, and here they are, and I'm gonna do 3 cards, and this is for you, Joe, because I firmly believe that you are in a magical place and time. If that makes it, does that make sense to you?
Absolutely, 100%.
And so the first card that I'm pulling is
Wait, that?
I've never seen that one before, Kevin.
I haven't either.
We've
That's why
pulled cards from this deck, Joe, for 2 years, and I've never seen that card.
And I can't pronounce it, but it's Dharma unfolding. Remember that you are on a path. Take one step at a time to happiness, which is that is this guy here.
Wow.
And it is, and you are taking that one step at a time for the past year that you've gone through it. Oh, here's another one, Rochelle. And it's Saint Germain.
Never seen that one either.
Karma releasing.
Oh,
amazing! So, that's exactly what we do with compassion.
Move beyond drama, create your own path, make room for good energy, and you're on that path to do that right now.
Absolutely.
And I have to tell you the story behind these cards after I pull this one, because they are. Oh, and Joan of Arc.
Oh, I love that one.
The voice of truth.
Yes, girl, you're doing it.
Stand strong. Focus on your purpose. Release the fear of persecution and speak your truth.
Oh my God, this is what I've been struggling with the whole week. Because the persecution imprint is so strong.
and so these cards, I got to tell you, I went to a what they call here in the States is a psychic fair, and it was at the end of the day. And the gal, and I wanted to pick up some cards of some kind, like tarot cards or something, and she was putting everything away, and I said, I want some cards, and she said, well, look in the top here, and on the very top was this deck, and so I picked it up, and these have been, and Rochelle will tell you, every time that we pull these cards, they have they offer an unspoken truth of what has been going on with us. So I'm not surprised that you've been thinking about that all week.
Yeah.
So congratulations. You are doing great and you're on the right path. Rochelle, go ahead.
Yeah. What did you just mention, Joe, about that, what that last card said and why that's been so prominent to you?
The persecution imprint.
Yeah.
That was the hook. To you? That was Edward Manick's hook that he reeled me in with, because it basically means that there are many of us so-called light workers on the planet. Many of us feel like an alien, like that's generally a general feeling. And many of us are hiding, or are still hiding or partially hiding because we had. Can I talk about past lives, or is it like beyond? Okay. Because
I've known Rochelle from many past lives, so go ahead.
Few good. Okay. So basically, the persecution imprint is, many of us carry it in our DNA, in our karma, in our, call it whatever, in our imprints. Past life memories of being persecuted for being, well, to put it bluntly, for being a witch, but basically anyone who communed with God, who stood out in any ways for speaking the truth, speaking things that nobody else dared to speak, or in any ways were different. Like for hundreds and hundreds of years, many of these people were persecuted, tortured, killed, and suffered in so many ways. So many of us have this very strongly, deeply ingrained fear of being seen for who we are, because all these parts in us who hold the pain and that massive shock basically gets triggered. And as you said, Kevin, when we were chatting before, like these things can come up and feel like it's happening now. And it completely takes control over your life, because for those parts, it's happening now. And so this is what we do with Compassion Key. A huge part of what we do with Compassion Key is we direct compassion to all these parts of us who are holding energetic imprints like this. Because whatever we meet with compassion in ourselves dissolves. So we can actually meet these parts and heal them and release all these stuck energies and all these stuck emotions. And therefore, those parts can return back to their natural way of being. But basically,
and Joe, did you notice that in those three cards, one said releasing karma?
Yes.
And the other one said releasing the persecution, fear, and stuff. And by the way, Brashal, we're talking with Joe, and you love to say her last name.
Kovrig, that's her last name. So everybody go to her website, Joe Kovrig. When we come back, I really want to ask you, Joe, how you discovered that being sensitive could be a superpower. I think that's a huge lesson for a lot of us in our lives.
And what am I going to play, Brashal?
Play Let's do the mirror. I think the mirror is a really good one for what we're talking about.
And then later on, I'm going to play Rock Bottom too.
Yes.
And here is the mirror. Joe, you haven't seen this one. Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. A woman spent years hating the reflection in her mirror. One day, she whispered, "I am enough." Day by day, her reflection became her friend. Self-love begins with the words you tell yourself. Speak gently, because you are listening. This is brought to you by Positive Talk Radio, where stories of hope come alive. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin, and Brashal is right there, and Joe Kovrig is with us, and she is really remarkable. And I love your energy. I love that you are here, and you are indeed a light worker beyond all others. But you as well had to go through what I call my bad country music song period, and you went through a similar period, because that's part of growth, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And whether we like it or not, we do have to go through it sometimes if we want to grow and evolve. And because as you mentioned when we were chatting, like some people just don't want to grow and evolve, and I find it remarkable. Like, why wouldn't they?
Because they're scared of what they'll find on the other side.
Yeah, it's true.
And Brashal and I have talked about this a bunch, is that they feel like they're comfortable with the way things are. And if they change, it's going to maybe change their vibration and their energy, and it's going to change their friends. It's going to change their environment. It's going to change. Things are going to show up that never would have showed up before, and it becomes a very big deal. And we've talked about that, haven't we, Brashal?
Yeah, hugely. It was this, hey, can I do it? Why am I doing it? There would be days where I was willing to do it day after day, but then that 1 or 2 days would hit me, and it's like I don't even know why I care about this, and I would just be a little angry or upset or really sad. And through a lot of that, I had to realize, Joe, that I was sensitive. I said that for so long, like I'm this strength, I was raised as a woman to be strong, but I was never taught how to handle my emotions and what it looked like to to allow myself to feel those things, but to respond rather than react to it was something that wrapping my head around was hard, of deserving what I was earning, because am I changing enough to deserve what is coming, type of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It was hard. And I would love for you to tell us how you figured out being sensitive was a superpower, because even in some children these days, we try to shut that down.
Massively. And that's a big thing, I think, because, well, to refer back to feeling like an alien, like sensitives, like 20% of human population is highly sensitive. So it's a fairly small fragment, I would say, of humankind, and it's something that's born with us. Like it's a form of neurodiversity. Like we have a more sensitive nervous system that responds to stimuli much quicker, and therefore we process much deeper as well. But that allows us to think deeper, feel deeper, and in general have a much deeper connection with our internal world in general. And that gives us a greater capacity to see things in context, to see the bigger picture of things, to connect the dots in different ways. Like because of the depth of processing, the processing can be much slower than with regular people. That sounded really bad, very judgmental. I take it back. But so the processing, we need a lot more processing time. We need a lot more alone time for the stimuli to be processed. But we also get to a lot more depth in things, and because of that, we can be very creative and very inventive as well. So we can dream of or create things that, again, I don't want to segment humankind in any ways. But
I used to tell Kevin all the time, Joe, that I'm not human. There's something wrong with me. I don't think I'm normal. I used to going crazy telling him. And one thing Kevin helped me realize is being sensitive and understanding that I was absorbing so much of energy that wasn't my own. Did you figure that out too?
Yeah, absolutely. That's like a heightened sense of empathy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I mean, excuse my French again, but that sucks if you until you learn to put up your filters. And there is another thing about it that I learned fairly recently, is that we need to also heal the wound in us that makes us overly receptive to other people's energy. Because it's a bit like I like working with demons, for example. I mean, I don't like, but I end up with a lot of clients where we remove demons or negative entities. And one of the biggest learning around that for me was, it's not to deal with the demon, it's to deal with where they got hooked on that person's energy. So it's always healing that person. We don't deal with the demon will go. Once I'm healed and intact energetically, I'll be fine, I'll be safe. And I feel that it's very similar with empathy in a way. Like we can have a very heightened sense of empathy, but we also need to learn to manage our shield and discern what I let in and what I don't let in.
Yeah,
and
that was hard.
Until that's done consciously, it can be very overwhelming, because you go through a crowd and you don't know why you feel like you've been under a steamroller.
Yeah. Exactly. Joe, I got to tell you, I'm a dude, and dudes have got this problem, and that is, we're taught from a very early age, don't be sensitive. Don't be. You got to be tough. You've got to. I got told this from coaches and everybody else. Don't cry. There's no crying in baseball. Don't be sensitive. You got to be tough and stuff. How do you help people embrace their sensitivity?
Well, I know men who are highly sensitive, and I had this conversation with them that it's extra tough for them because of that, because of cultural conditioning of you can't cry, you can't be sensitive, you don't show your emotions, you really have to be tough. And it's tough, but I would say without sensitive people, the world will never really change the way we want it to change. Like we don't, like having more tough people will not take us to where we want to be as humanity, unless we want to go extinct, which is the right direction. But like this is where we are. But if we want to turn things back and actually create a living, breathing, healthy, harmonious human civilization, then we need more sensitives. We need more dreamers. We need more storytellers. We need more creative people. We need more people who are ready to embrace the magic of who we are and move away more and more from these rigid cultural conditionings, as Vishen Lakhiani, the founder of Mindvalley, would call them, the rules, the bullshit rules of society. And for that, I completely agree that for men it's a lot harder, but at the same time we really need highly sensitive men to come forward and actually embrace their sensitivity, because they have amazing gifts within them for that very reason.
Yeah. And how do you help a man, or really anyone? Because there are lots of women, as an example, Rochelle was brought up to be tough. You can do it. You're and stuff. So how? And you talked about a system that you have embraced in the last year. Can we talk about that a little bit? Because that's is now involved in your work, correct?
It's massively involved in my whole life, all areas of my life. I live and breathe compassion, Kiki. And that's exactly what I use for helping sensitives as well, because a lot of reasons why we don't see the gift of it and we feel it as a burden is because it's so stigmatized and so opposite to what's expected from society. Yeah. So we end up feeling more, thinking deeper, but the world wants you to be fast, tough, produce, and just be like dong dong dong, like a conveyor belt, basically. And highly sensitive people are not really suited for that. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of it is about dismantling social conditioning, dismantling all the identity. Like a lot of it is really just healing trauma patterns, healing all the coping mechanisms that we built as children to survive. Things like, to make it very simple, perfectionism, it's a huge one. Like hands up if you're not affected by perfectionism one way or another. However, it's a coping mechanism based on trauma, and that's something that can be undone to a degree or healed, where it turns into healthy striving, but it's not killing you. It's not going to, you don't bank your self-worth in how you produce or what you produce. So just to go back to how do I help? I help by seeing the unhealthy patterns that are keeping high sensitivity stigmatized. They're in a negative place in their understanding, and bringing it up to a place where it's aligned with who they are, and they can really bring forth the gifts that lie within it. Because you can be highly sensitive and be a politician, for example, and then really do good stuff for whoever you're serving. Or like, I'm not saying that what I'm saying with this, that just by being highly sensitive, you don't need to be an airy-fairy, I don't know, artist or something. You can be anything you want to be, but you get the depths of your processing and the gift of depths of your processing into whatever you do.
You know, Joe, I've been accused of a lot of things. Being airy-fairy, I'm afraid, just isn't one of them. And it's because I was an athlete and I was a boxer and but I also consider myself highly sensitive. And but at the same time, I let it be because how other people view me is none of my business anymore. I've reached that place in time, so that's why. And by the way, that is extraordinarily freeing. If you can say, "It's none of my business what you think of me."
That's the greatest freedom,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Because then you can be who you really are, and you can do the universe and the source and however you describe the great beyond and the universe. You can then be who you were destined to be to begin with. By the way, Michelle, we're talking with Joe
Kovrig, go to her website. It's jokovrig.com. That's JOKOVRIG.com. And she's got everything about her, the services, blog, and a way to contact her and book a session with her. So stay in tune with us. We'll be right back to dig a little bit deeper.
And we're going to talk about self-compassion after the station break. You're listening to Positive Talk Radio Network. We're on a mission to entertain, enlighten, empower, and educate through inspiring music, dynamic conversations, and yes, laughter. Join me, Kevin McDonald, and Brishelle as we declare our freedom from hate, division, and fear and celebrate a better way of living. Go to positivetalkradio.net to find out more. Why is it, do you suppose, that we are our own harshest critics, maintaining a standard for ourselves that we would never demand of a friend? We mistake self-criticism for discipline, but real growth requires a different environment, one of self-compassion. When we quiet the internal judge, we find the clarity and the energy we need to actually improve. True strength begins with the peace you make with yourself. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin, and Brishelle is here, and we've got a great guest. Her name is Joe Kovrig. Correct, Brishelle?
Good job. I knew you could do it. You already have. I just didn't say anything.
Thank you. And her website is?
Yes, her website is her name, jokovrig.com, and she's got everything there for you to book a call with her and find all the information that you need. So, Joe, what did you think of that little piece?
I love it. This sums it up. Like, it sums up my whole message. That, when we can just finally be kind to ourselves.
Well, and you gave us that message. And by the way, you mentioned something, and Brishelle, I don't know that we've ever talked about this, not since you've joined me, and I just can't remember it. But I think one of the biggest fallacies that there is the idea of perfectionism. That we can be perfect in everything we do, because that's not the human condition. And so if your standard is perfection, you're never going to meet that standard. So you're always going to think that you're less than because you can't meet the standard that somebody else, not you, probably your mom or your dad, set for the standard for you. And that is not, I want to repeat this, not attainable because you're human. Brishelle, does that make sense?
Thank goodness it finally makes sense to me. Joe, I struggled with this my whole life. Everything was about perfect. There was no in-betweens. There was no other options. It was that way. And I ran myself in circles like a chicken with my head cut off, like literally every day. When I go back and think of that time, I don't know what was going on. I don't know who I was. I don't know what I was thinking about. All I knew is I was trying to make everything perfect. And the more I did that, the more things were out of my control. And now I've gotten to a point that I'm like, when I do things, I don't think I even think about that. It's just, meh, it's going to be however it is. And then I'm going to move on. But getting to that point was not easy. You understand all of that, right?
That's what I wanted to ask. Like, what helped you get into that point? Because that sounds like a massive shift.
Well, Kevin shared these 3 words with me that drove me nuts at first. He said, "Let it be." And I kind of absorbed that. And it was, you know how, did you have these moments of time where things that you were hearing for so long all of a sudden just had meaning inside of yourself? And then you realized, I think it was that. It was Kevin would tell me, "Let it be." And then inside my subconscious was thinking of that. And it was this, "It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Like, you're not going to die, Berchelle." And I think that shifted me. And then I started to see all these things. I'm like, "Oh, wait, that makes sense."
Wow, well done.
Did you have those little things too? Is there things that maybe somebody told you so much over and over that
Yeah.
you finally are like, "Wait, I get that now."
Yeah, absolutely. Or I get that on a different level. Like, I thought I got that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so that's what he meant. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we kind of, sometimes you need to just ripen to certain understanding, I think.
Yeah. Well, and to give yourself the space to do that, right? Because we both just said we thought we knew, but we didn't, and we weren't trying to make it perfect to realize what we didn't know, you know, because the more that you let go of, the more learning comes to you like at nauseum, and it's almost overwhelming. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Actually, yeah, the more you let go, the more like your own knowing can come to the surface. It's what I'm finding. And that's where things become a lot more interesting, because then you get that subtle discernment between your mind's voice and your heart's voice. And the discernment of intellectual knowing and your heart's knowing, like, you know, that clear knowing of, I just know that this is how it is, and I can't tell how I know it or why I know it or where I know it from, but it's just like that. And if I follow that path, it works.
Do you help a lot of people go through the same harmony and trying to work through that?
Yes, a lot. Yeah, this is one of my main areas where we learn to come down from basically heal all our parts that are hijacking our clarity, hijacking our intuition, for example, or our trust in our intuition, or our trust in our inner knowing, and basically come to alignment and learn to discern, really. And by learn to discern, meaning that when I can see that there is a part of me that's running havoc in my life right now, or in this moment, how to pacify that, how to heal that, and how to come back to peace and clarity inside. So yeah, I do a lot of that, and I absolutely love those moments in the sessions when my clients, well, they often come in that kind of inner turmoil and chaos of like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And then by the end, we get to that point where there is this pace, this clarity, and they are just, oh my God, I can breathe now. And yeah.
Isn't it just thrilling? And it's very relaxing when you're on the receiving end of that and you work through some of those things and you let them go. It's very relaxing. Your life now is not full of stress. It's you can kind of gain inner clarity. I believe every one of us has got an intuitive side to us. In your work, why do so many people poo-poo their intuitive side or don't listen to it, and they listen to the louder voice which is coming from your head?
Ooh, and I want to tie this in too, because both of you just mentioned trust.
Yeah.
So that's got to go in there somewhere, I'm guessing.
Yeah, trust is key, isn't it? Like trust in either in a higher power, trust in your own inner guidance, trust in life, that everything will unfold the way it should. And I wouldn't say it's only people who come to me have struggled with their intuition. I think that's honestly, I think that's quite a general thing that we all need to learn to discern. It's just the people who come to me, I get a chance to actually support them on that journey to basically heal more of the hijacking parts or the saboteur parts, so that the intuition can come to forward. more and more and take up more and more space and become more and more of their everyday reality rather than like a little glimpse here and there. Because that's what happens with this kind of healing work, that the more layers we heal inside, the more of the truth of who we are can come to surface, and it becomes the natural part of our lived experience, basically. And therefore, intuition is not just the voice, it's like where you live your life from.
Isn't learning who we really are so that we can live our most fulfilling and service-oriented life, isn't that really why we are here? And so many of us deny that for whatever reason. But we don't really gain clarity until we, I don't know, gain clarity. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. And I completely agree. Like, this is the ultimate goal of human existence, isn't it? To find out who we actually are beyond or underneath all these layers of stuff that we
All the
carry.
stuff and all the stories that people have told us over time that, by the way, very few of them are actually true. And I know that there are people in our audience going, no, that's not. I know my story, and it was terrible. But all the stories you tell yourself, a lot of them are just not true, and they're not designed for your betterment. They actually are designed to hold you back until you give them up. Is that true?
Yeah. However, there is a twist that helped me tremendously, and that is Richard Schwartz and his internal family system, because he was the one who pointed out that even the most vicious parts and vicious critics inside of us have good intentions. Like, literally nothing in us, no parts in us are malicious, because everything has good intention, usually to save you or to like keep you safe, basically. Like, it's all survival, it's all keeping you safe, it's all keeping you in line. It's just they are usually stuck in a place where they are far behind in evolution, meaning like they are stuck in like a 3-year-old parts or a 5-year-old parts, and they never realize that you've passed that stage. So yeah, just to go back to the stories, these are the parts that usually hold on to the stories, because they genuinely believe that that's who they are. That's why sometimes we feel like lost little children, or abandoned, or rejected. Or when all these feelings come up, these are our little wounded aspects that are holding these stories, that are coming to surface to be seen and to be healed. And once we heal them, they can release the story and they can come back to their natural state of being.
How do you release them?
With compassion. It's very, very simple, actually.
I'm trying, Joe. I swear I am. I am. You know, thinking about this process is not easy. It is not. It takes time, and you have to decide if you're going to choose yourself or you're going to choose the world. And Joe, one thing that obviously they didn't tell me is how hard it would be. But it is exciting. It's exciting to me now. Like, it doesn't matter what's going on or what happens, and yeah, things are hard, and I'm struggling sometimes every day still, but I still have these moments where I sit down and I don't really know when I started to enjoy it. I'll have to think about that a little more, because now I'm here and I'm thinking, like, people probably work with you and they get to enjoy the release of that. They get to find joy and happiness and positive energy doing this work with you, because it feels good to be yourself more than I think that we realize, right?
It's the best thing ever when you really meet yourself in the most profound way. Yeah. I just recently had someone actually who said after the session, like, I did not expect this. I did not expect to meet myself at the end of the session. Like, you never know what's coming, but this I did not see coming.
Yeah.
And that was the most beautiful feedback I ever had.
I bet. Well, you got to experience that. That's how you helped them.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you first.
Well,
Yes.
Honestly, I genuinely mean it, that it's not me doing it, because everything's happening from surrender. So I'm just holding space for whatever wants to come through and happen. And I'm honestly just following the energy of what's presenting itself in a session.
Well, since we talked about past lives and we talked about energy, I'm here to tell you something special. You ready?
Bring it on.
Your soul is connected to your soul on the other side, and your guides on the other side, and all of them are using you as the conduit to get the message that they want to get across. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
So it isn't you, but it is you. Does that make so there's somebody in our audience going, huh? What did he say? But it is you, and it isn't you, but it is you. Does that make sense?
Kevin,
absolutely.
That makes sense, because Joe's work proves it, that when we come here, we have to attach to that original and solid foundation of our soul self. And that's what we're spending this life trying to do. Right?
Exactly.
I'm learning.
She figured it out, Joe. You've made a breakthrough right here on the air. Congratulations.
Live.
It's all because you and Joe, I swear.
Well, you've got tremendous energy. You have been doing this for your whole life. And when we come back from this break, I'm going to ask you, do you feel less like an alien today than you did when you were a little girl? Or is there still a lot of learning our people have to do in order for us to be able to walk down the street without that persecution complex, and to get rid of the karma and all of the things that we all have to deal with? And Michelle, I'm going to play Rock Bottom. Can I do that?
Please do.
Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. One man lost everything he thought to find him. His job, his marriage, even his confidence. At rock bottom, he realized the one thing no one could ever take was his will to rise again. Sometimes life has to break us open so we can discover the strength we never knew was inside. Remember, your lowest point is not the end. It can become the very foundation of your greatest comeback. And you are listening to Positive Talk Radio, where stories of hope come alive. Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. In a dark room, a single candle was lit. That tiny flame chased away the shadows, filling the space with hope. Your courage, your kindness, and your light may seem small at times, but it can change someone's entire world. Never underestimate the power you already carry inside. Even the smallest flame can ignite a fire that transforms lives. You are listening to Positive Talk Radio, where stories of hope come alive. And welcome back to Positive Talk. Rochelle, I heard you. I think I heard you. Did you want me to play the candle?
Well, I've already got it memorized, so why not? I'm starting to memorize these things, so I'm hearing it in my subconscious all the time. But you had a question for Joe.
And that was so long ago. Do you remember what the question was?
Well, let me tell you this, Joe. The more that I have done my healing and that I've grown, I have accepted how different an alien I feel. And it's actually gotten a lot more intense. So what is your what has your experience been like?
You know what? Can I tie in another concept? Because feeling like an alien kind of led me to something called spiritual bypassing, meaning that I felt like I don't belong here. So the way out is to meditate myself out of here. And So meaning that if I transcend all this world by getting enlightened, then I don't need to suffer all this heaviness and density and all these weird energies and all the nonsense that I just can't make sense of it, basically.
Yeah.
And what I realized is that that's not the way. It's not going to help, and that's just not the way it works. And again, this is where Compassion Key and Edward helped me tremendously when he said that you can go into transcendental enlightenment, but you can also have embodied enlightenment, meaning that you awaken and you still stay in your body and you still interact with the world. Like you don't like shoot out, basically, like you don't go out. You bring it down. You bring down heaven to earth. You bring down your highest self into your body and embody it and live it. And that made so much sense. And that was the moment when I could finally say yes to life in this physical form and in this world. And that moment was when I stopped feeling like an alien in a way, or I stopped running away from life. Let's put it that way. And I found that I can say yes to all of this.
Isn't that a big key, being able to say yes to life?
It's a huge one. Yeah.
That's how I found you, Kevin.
I know.
Before we end the show, too, Joe, what is your definition of giving yourself compassion?
Self-love, maybe. I think that's the closest. Okay. And it's a lot simpler than that. It's meeting my parts that are holding all these little wounded energies like they were little children. Mm-hmm. And it's, if you just look at yourself, like whenever something's hurting, or even if you're in as you said, you're responding, not reacting. But when you're reacting, for example, that's always a wounded child. That's always a wounded part of us. That's where the reaction is coming from. And that's when most often than not, we switch into self-criticism and self-judgments, like, oh, I shouldn't behave like this. Why is it here? Trying to push it down, trying to push it away. And that's the worst thing we can do and to them, because all they want is to be seen, heard, and acknowledged, these little parts when we react. And it's very simply just looking at them like children claiming our attention. So I just turn towards myself and hug that little part in me, as if that was that little child saying that, oh no, I can see you, I can hear you, I know how you feel, it's okay, I'm here. And yeah, within a session, this is what we do also, but in a much more like organized way, in a way.
Joe, there's somebody in our audience that's going, dang, I need to work with her. How do they do that, Michelle?
Yes, well, I do believe the best place to go is her website, which is jokovrig.com. And she has about her, the services blog, and a way to contact her. And then right in the top right corner, it says big and broad book here. So I'm guessing that is probably the best place to go. Joe, if anybody else wants to find more of you and your work, is there anywhere else they could turn to?
Facebook. It's a good place, because that's where I am doing my best to keep posting new content and new things, fresh info, which is the same thing, Joe Kovrig Healing. Yeah, you can find me at Joe Kovrig Healing.
Perfect.
In the work that you're doing, my dear, by the way, which is so needed, and the reason that I played the candle is you are that light in a dark room. And when your light turns on, the darkness goes away. And that's kind of a metaphor for who you are and the person that you are helping humanity heal. Do you believe, like I do, that that was a contract that you signed before you were even born?
Absolutely. I so feel it in every cell of my being right now, that I am where I'm meant to be, and I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. Right here, right now. This is why I came here. Yeah.
And why you came here is very important, isn't it, Rochelle?
Yes, I mean, if you haven't listened to the whole show, go back and you'll understand. And Joe, I'm I'm so happy for you to get to share that. I think to myself, the reason that I'm here and I do this with Kevin, I say it all the time, is because I'm a living testimony. I'm sitting right here. I put in the work and I do it every day, and I'm in the middle of all of that, and I get to learn from people like you. But if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to become who I was. Your clients wouldn't have somewhere to go, and so I'm happy. My heart is singing to you, that your heart has gone through these things so that you can help other people get to that space of feeling like I am exactly where I need to be in my life, and everything is going to be okay.
Yeah. I love this last bit. Everything's going to be okay. Trust.
Are you excited about what the future holds for you? Because there's so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. I am. I'm excited and I'm humbled at the same time, to be honest.
Me too.
Yep.
Mm.
And you have to come back, because there's going to be more that's going to happen, and we're going to have to follow up. Is there anything in your world that you have decided to do or change that you're really excited looking forward to?
Change. There's been so much change this year already that I'm not sure if I can handle more. To be honest.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, when is the book coming out?
Well, by September.
See?
I knew it. Good answer. That was awesome.
You need to make that book happen.
Well, we didn't specify the number of pages, right? Did we?
No, and it's not about length. It's about impact.
Yeah.
Good message.
I would love to write a book one day. Yeah, actually.
I think you've got quite a few in you. I could see you making some sort of journal for people to help guide them through when they're not with you, for when they step out of their office and they need that little bit of going back to the moment and gaining themselves. I'm so excited for your future, and I'm excited that you're on this earth so that people get that chance. Because Joe, have you had people come to you that work with you and they're like, I didn't really know there was somebody out there that would understand or care enough to want to help me live my life?
Yeah. Yes. And I didn't know there is someone who can actually understand what I'm going through. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a deeply humbling moment for me too, to be honest, because I know how that feels.
Yeah.
And Joe, why is it that we do that to ourselves? That we think that our issues or our problems, we're the only one that's dealing with that, when the reality is a large chunk of humanity is dealing with the same exact thing we're dealing with. We just don't communicate with each other and form a community around that, and so we think we're all out there all by ourselves. So I want to say this. If you, and then Rochelle, Rochelle, you go ahead.
No,
you
I was
have
just
that
gonna
look.
say, you helped me understand that all of that came down to me asking for help. And so that's how I see it a little bit.
So if you are sitting listening to this in your car and you're in your driveway because you don't want to turn your car off because you're enjoying this and you're listening to it and you're thinking, I've been thinking about this all day, and here you are and we're talking about it, you need to grab a piece of paper and a pencil, and Rochelle's going to tell you again how to contact Joe, because she can help you. She understands. I think that's the biggest thing, Joe, is that you understand because you've been through it yourself.
Yeah. Lived experience is one of the most powerful healing tool, actually.
It's the only way.
Yeah.
So if you need help figuring this out for yourself, you can find Joe on Facebook by Joe Kovrig Healing. And then you can also go to her website, which is probably best also, joekovrig.com. Everybody, it's JOKOVRIG.com. I'm just going to say she's got the option to click book here and just have a discussion so that you get to understand that somebody else also does.
And next year, you're going to have another link on there that's going to say, buy the book here.
Yeah, let's do that.
Anything is possible, right?
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Joe, we love you, and thank you for being here. It's been my pleasure. And Gowdy 1971, because he was born when I was in high school.
Hey, Dad. I hope you learned a lot from this. I love you. And Joe, is there anything on your mind that you'd like to leave us with so people can think about this more than past this hour?
Probably the very simple thing to be compassionate with yourself. Like every time that inner critic comes up and starts its tantrum, just be compassionate with yourself, please.
Yeah, please. Your little self is begging you, people.
Yeah, exactly. Like my inner child is begging your inner child. Please.
And I just want to say, for everybody that's listening, adhere or think about the gospel according to Paul McCartney and just let it be.
I know that.
It's going to be okay.
Exactly.
Yes.
It is. Joe Kovrig, thank you very much for being here. Rochelle, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Any last words, Rochelle, before we go?
Just thank you, everybody, for spending this time with us. We absolutely love you for sticking with us and hearing out Joe and being supportive, but also allowing her to be in your world and your space and your time to share her knowledge in her world. So please do realize that there's somebody who understands and cares, and your little self deserves to ask for help. So Joe is here for you. If you want to visit her website and challenge yourself to that, you can do that at joekovrig.com. And until next time, Joe, we love you so much.
I love you too.
Thank you.
And have a great day, everybody. We've got a great show coming up after this, too. So it's a great day. It's a great Friday. Talk to you soon. Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got.